Gill was just a little soft. It looked, he just was a little lapse in concentration, it looked like, and didn't get the ball out to target. Has to just hope something bounces around back there, and it doesn't.
As you said, Mike, the nose doesn't carry it all. When you come high on that head pin, you pay for it.
Now 480 players started. Many top names were shut out. Ricky Sajak, the scourge of the tour, didn't even make the field. He got in a little late, right?
There were 200 people waiting to get into the tournament, and this is unique in that it also has amateur bowlers in it and state champions who could be pros or amateurs.
This is the cream of the crop, and we're down to only 3. These two players, Sliker and Menier, and the man who leads the tournament, Earl Anthony, Crystal Sliker.
She's a veteran bowling wife. She sits there and takes the grief and the
Crystal see is the driving force behind Gill. I mean, she really cracks the whip, and Gill's the type. He's an easygoing guy. He needs
that demure young woman cracks the whip.
He needs someone to push him a little bit, and she does it. I was going to say that open probably relaxed him anyway.
Here is Menier looking for a double, and that 4-pin would not fall. We have yet to see a double in this match after we saw nothing but strikes in the previous match. Menier's victory over Pappas.
Well, again, the lanes are breaking down just a little bit. He left the soft 10 over here, makes the adjustment, back for the 4-pin. Cross lane now at the 4-pin. That does keep Sliker in the match. It's only 12 pins difference, and Gill's working on a strike. Crossley has the 4-pin easily.
Chuck, you have a few of the other finishers in the Masters.
Henry Gonzalez, 7th, Colorado Springs, won 5,600. Sam Macarone from Glassboro, New Jersey, 4,400. Pete McCordick, Houston, Texas, 3,400. Norm Duke, who looked like he would be a threat here, Mike, from Fort Worth, ended up with 2,900. Charlie Del Plato lost a very close match to Earl Anthony, but still earned 2,400. Don
Janello in 12th place also. Brian Voss, good-looking young player, was 13th. Tita Samiz, who had a 300 last year, was in 14th. We could go right on down the line. And there's a strike by Menier.
Now watch his follow-through here. Free swing, pushes it out, swings down, and watch the follow-through. Right behind the ball, turns, makes that nice turn. See the follow-through comes straight up? That's picture perfect, Chuck. You can't do it any better. And this is a big shot for Gil Sliker right now. He's down 12. He needs to keep his speed up, not get soft.
5th frame for Sliker as he goes for a double. 47 in the 3rd, strike in the 4th, in the 5th, and they came
right
in
there
for a strike.
Trips that 4-9 out of there.
Actually, Mike, if he had been a little lighter, he probably would have left the 4.
He would have. Watch it. The 2-pin, 3rd from the left here, will go to the wall, come back, and get both the 7 and the 4, and the 9 goes out there late too. He's got to make a little bit more adjustment on that right lane and move a little deeper on it.
Sliker has been 7 years in this American Bowling Congress competition. He goes back to when they had the classic team event and the pros were able to bowl in the regular phase of the tournament.
For the lead. For the lead.
No. Yes! The 10-pin fell late.
So he gets 2 breaks, trips the 4, and gets a late hit on the 10. The ball will come in light behind the pocket.
Let's see if that was the 6-pin that did it, Mike.
It was definitely the 6-pin, Chuck. Watch the second one from the right. It goes slides out there, and the head of it just hits the butt of the 10-pin and knocks it over.
Sliker now is in the lead by 8 pins.
People say, what Japanese plug should I put in my Japanese car? I say for short trips, you need a hot plug. Helps stop misfiring. For long trips, a normal plug. Then I show them this plug with the long...
Strike from Menier. 42,000 players come here over a 3-month period to bowl in the American Bowling Congress National Championship.
Dwayne, in the ABC tournament, 376,000 games bowled. In the Masters, 5,800. Columbia Pro-Am, 2,800. In the Young Bowlers Association, which is a collegiate tournament, another 480, 1,600 in the seniors tournament. So we've had all kinds of competitions on these lanes. Here's Rick Menier ready to go on his next shot.
Total of over 387,000 games bowled here on these lanes at the Reno Sparks Convention Center in Nevada over just over 3 months. And high in the 4-pin for Menier.
And we have a 1-pin match. Menier's 1 pin ahead.
Isn't it something that this is one sport, bowling, where every bowler in America can take part in a big league setting? Every bowler's not eligible to play in the Masters, this companion event, but they are eligible to come here and bowl in the regular phase of the tournament.
And they range from 120 average to 220 average.
Yeah, my father's bowling this, and he's just enjoyed it immensely. He's been a league bowler for 40 years and just enjoys the ABC competition more than anything.
Now Munir with a spare in the 7th. We have a very close match. Munir is back ahead of Sliker by 1 pin, but Sliker's on a roll. He's on a turkey. Did you say he's had a few breaks in that turkey?
Well, he's tripped that 4 and got that 10 on. He needs to make that adjustment on this lane. Get that ball off that nose a little bit. See that? Come on, babe.
There's the boss there. Sliker going for a 4-bagger in the 7th frame.
And what a break!
Carried that beautifully, Mike.
He was shocked himself. He didn't know when it was going to leave, and he thought maybe it was going to leave the 10 or the 5, and he got both of them out.
Or the 8, or the 8-10.
Sliker
Right.
back in front by 9 pins through 7 frames. Sliker now bowling in the 8th. He's on 4 in a row.
Takes that deep breath. Up by 9. Can increase it to 19. What a big shot coming up here.
Nobody has been able to string 5 in a row yet in these finals. Here's Sliker trying to do it here.
He's light and blows him out of there. What a nice shot. And there's Crystal. Boy, she's nervous. Look at that.
One more.
There we see the score. Sliker with 5 in a row. He's up by 19 pins. The ball will come in light, and watch the ball get the 5 and send it right into the 7. Just gets that 5. And both pins there, several of them working on that 7 pin.
From a shaky start, he's got a possible 250.
Sliker trying to derail this young man who has already done so well. Rick Munir winning his first 2 matches, trying to stay alive here. And he lets Sliker know that he's still around with that strike coming off a spare in the previous frame.
Dwayne, right now, Rick Munir's throwing the most important shot that he's thrown the entire week, maybe of his entire career. He's down 19 pins. He can cut it to 9. If he can strike here in the 9th frame and set himself up for the 10th, he has to have this strike. It's been his favorite lane for the 3 games he's bowled.
So all eyes on lane 17 here at the Reno Sparks Convention Center, the American Bowling Congress, the fabled Masters tournament. And now he pulls back. He doesn't want to shoot yet. He comes away. He looks to the right. He was bothered by something. I think a still cameraman may have bothered him to the right there, Mike. And,
It seemed like there was some kind of movement there. And he was wise to stop.
But it's so hard to get off and get back up and get your concentration just right. It is very difficult to do. He did the right thing, but it's hard to do it right.
9th frame looking for an important double. Munir with a good follow through, drives it home, but comes up with a split.
See, as I said, it's so hard to regroup. It really is. It's just that break in concentration is so hard to put it back together.
Leaving the 410. And this is, so I guess you could pick this up. Is it possible, Mike?
Well, the 410, he must go for it. He has to make it to have any chance. He must hit the 4 pin on the extreme left, nick it over and hit the 10. He's aiming at about 1/8 of an inch at 60 feet away. He's giving it a run.
Trying to get it, and he misses.
Good try, good try.
And so Munir going to 174 in the 9th and open. He's now 32 pins behind, and Sliker can put the nail in right here.
See what a
in the 9th
difference.
frame.
32 pins behind, and he would have been 9 pins behind if he struck. I mean, the big difference is just, Gil just needs to keep his act together here. I've told him before, you win these things in the 9th frame. You don't wait for the 10th, so win it now. And he didn't do it. He gives it right back to 6, 7, 10.
He opened the door. All right, 6, 7, 10 for Sliker. And now we have a 17-pin difference. So the lead by Sliker, which was 32 on this flip, has shrunk to 17. We still have the entire 10th frame to go for both players. Now this one is convertible. Can he pick it up? He goes for it and almost did it.
9 out.
192 in the 9th and open for Sliker.
He's going to force himself to mark.
Mark, needs a mark.
Leads
Gil
by 18 pins.
Gil right now is going at a 212 pace. If he would open, he would shoot 201, and Munir could strike out for 204. So he needs some kind of spare or strike, and the best kind of mark, Dwayne, is always a strike. always.
That's right. There's no such thing as playing safe.
A strike here wins it for Schleicher and wins for him a match with Anthony for the championship. Does he have
He gave him more room.
He is lying, but he struck.
Boy, showed no emotion at all.
And then,
It certainly was. I can't believe it. He just, every day at the office, it's just the way he looked at it. He lets it go, and he gave this one definitely more room. He's saying, come on, ball, come on up there. And he looks at it and says, all right.
I think his feeling, Mike, was it was a loose ball. He'd get at least 9 and have a simple spare.
and now with the match decided and Gil Schleicher having defeated Rick Minear after Minear had an excellent finals. To be on national television with this pressure and to bowl 2 games of 224 and 234. He winds up in 3rd place with $19,000, and this man, Gil Schleicher, will go on to play the fellow whose shadow is already creeping over this building, I would say, the Earl.
And they're going to be
greatest
bowling
of them
one
all.
game for $15,000, 40 to the winner, 25 to the loser, but more important, the Masters Championship.
Yeah, the most important game of Gil Schleicher's career is coming up.
That's right. While he won the doubles with you in Las Vegas, he has never on his own won a tournament.
And the Masters, see, is the Masters. It's that prestigious title.
The tradition makes the
Hey, you've
Masters.
had a great career, but you haven't won it, right?
Right.
No.
I was just going to say, what makes the Masters are the greats who have won it and the greats who haven't won it.
And Mike is one of the greats who hasn't won it, but let's point out that one thing Mike has done that even the Earl hasn't done is win the Firestone 3 times. And the final ball as he leaves the 4-pin, Rick Minear shoots a 193. Gil Schleicher wins decisively with a 221. And now, coming into camera view, just off our camera to the right, the Earl Anthony. The man who has won 41 PBA titles plus the 1977 Masters.
Times in the past, Gil has won that first match on television and then had something go wrong the next match and doesn't win. The big question today is, can Earl win without having practiced for 9 months very much at all, or can Gil win and overcome that jinx that's hounded him throughout his career of not winning an individual title?
And this will be Anthony trying to become the 4th player in the history of this fabled event to win it twice. 10 frames for the championship and the granddaddy of them all.
Now, Gil's problem in the past has been he wins a match on TV and the concentration wanes just a little bit or lapses, and then he has a bad game. So we'll see if he knows about that problem, and he wants to be as intense as he can today.
There is tension. You can feel it. Schleicher first over the Masters championship match.
Can't throw it any better than that, Dwayne. Did you hear that pop? That's that finger snapping that ball up there. He is ready to bowl.
Chuck, are you surprised that Anthony swept through undefeated in the match play phase of this tournament to the top seed?
Yes, I am, because being off that long, and he even admitted he wasn't that sharp. He won the close matches, but that's I think you mentioned before he won 4 matches by less than 100 pins.
Anthony starts with a
That's
strike.
a big one. That's a big one, that strike, because Earl.
He's so smooth. The follow-through always comes straight up, right in balance, comes in light, doesn't overpower the pins just enough, sweeps that 5 into the 10. That's a big one, Chuck, but I think this frame is even better. To get out with a double and put some pressure on Schleicher right away is really important. And this has been, I think, his tougher lane, even though he chose to finish on it.
Anthony's first appearance in a major event since the Waukegan Open last summer.
Nice and slow.
Ooh, and he left the 10-pin. Now, in this tournament, in a battle of 4-game matches, Anthony won decisively over Bob Mills. But then, over 4 games, he only beat Dave Husted by 23 pins, beat Marv Sargent by 14 pins over 4 games, beat Charles Del Plato by only 10 pins over 4 games, and beat Rick Minear by 15 pins. So he has had the luck of the draw and is just well enough to win.
Cross lane at the 10-pin, has it easily. And again, getting out ahead of your opponent early in an important match like this is just so important. You really put the pressure on him. Gil wants that double right away.
On the other hand, Schleicher has scored some impressive victories. He was undefeated until he lost a 4-game match to Anthony decisively last night. Schleicher up in the 2nd. can take the lead with a strike, which would make a double here.
He's high on the Brooklyn.
And he leaves the 6-10.
Again, did you notice he just, the concentration, he just a little bit quick, you know, and didn't get the ball out to where he wanted.
And I think you hit it before on the head. It's very important for Gil to get a quick lead or be in the ball game in the beginning, because that's where he seems to lose his games. He doesn't get off to that fast start.
Looking at the Earl. The Earl is loose. You can see that. And Sliker, who wants this one quickly in spares. The 1972 Pennsylvania team doubles in all events champion. Back in his amateur days, he's had 5 career 300s. And it just appears to me from a layman's observation, he's got a beautiful stroke, Mike.
Dwayne, I think we ought to pay a little tribute to Jack Jurek of West Texas State. Won the collegiate tournament here. He will represent the United States in the AMF World Cup tournament in Australia next year.
Well, let's remember that name. Might be out there playing Mike Durbin someday, huh? Jack Jurek. All right.
Better speed on this shot. Oh, it's going high.
When it, luckily for Sliker, was not a split. And lately, just before the rack came down, I believe, that 6-pin did go down. He checks for the scores to make sure that the 9-pin count goes, and it does.
Was he slow on that one, Mike?
I thought his speed was good. I really did. He had more speed than he did on the right lane. That lane might be breaking down.
And there's Crystal Sliker.
Are they going to set that 6-pin back up? I thought that shot was good. I thought that pin was down.
That looked like a legitimate pin.
It looked to me like it was down. They're going to set it. What are they going to set up? They're setting the 6-10 back up, and I can't.
Boy,
I think Gil's getting knocked out of a pin.
I would like to see a replay on that if we could, because if that rack came down.
The rack did come down, but I don't think it hit the pin.
It didn't look like it hit the pin.
But see, what happened here is we have these computer scores, and the computer score ruled it as an 8 count. I don't know whether they took the word of the computer or what.
If this goes down to 1 pin, we'll think back to this frame, because he was coming off a spare, and that difference between an 8 and 9 pin count could be crucial.
I didn't see Gil protest, though, Mike.
Well, he pleaded a little bit. He didn't protest very vehemently, but Gil never does.
But he's mild-mannered. Now, what would you have done, Mike?
Stop the play.
If I thought that I had 9 there, I would want him to look at the replay on television.
Anthony.
More speed on the right lane.
And the Earl comes in for a strike in the 3rd.
Now
40 pins in the 2nd, strike in the 3rd for Anthony.
Watch that, Dwayne. The speed, he's trying to throw more speed and flatter on the right lane. Throw it slower and turn it more on the left lane. Very difficult to do, especially when he, as you say, he hasn't been practicing. He's not that sharp.
Trying to become the... Go ahead.
That's exactly what he's trying to do, though.
Hey, there's a pretty woman.
Susie.
This is Earl Anthony. They like to go golfing together, I hear.
And she's sat through many of these before, both on the successful side and the failure side.
Anthony looking for the first double in the championship match and does not get it. This is a split. This is a split. This is the 5-6.
You see that left lane won't finish. He couldn't get the ball up there. He's a great split shooter, though.
Must fit it in between these two. And for Earl, this is a difficult shot, but as Mike said, he's an excellent spare shooter.
The ball will fit right in between. The object is to put it in there, and the ball hits both pins. You don't slide one into the other. You try and fit it right in between.
One of the nicest superstars in sport, Earl Anthony. Big shot for the Earl in the 1984 Masters. He did not pick up the split.
Not even close.
Sliker in the lead. Sliker taking the lead here. And Sliker working on a spare. He is in a 10-pin lead right now and tries to jump on that open. I would think just like the old Yankees. When you get an opening like that, you better jump through on it.
Well, that I know my opponents always do whenever I get an opening. I always get a double up.
You're not too bad at it either.
Better speed. Give it a little more
here
room.
in the Regal Sports Convention Center. A light hit and the dinner bucket, the 2-4-5-8.
He made the adjustments, Dwayne. He went high the last time. He made the adjustment. He moved in, gave it more room, and the ball wouldn't make it back. He is now confused. He has a difficult spare. He's cut his lead down to, what is it, 8 pins? If he makes the spare.
Well, that count really hurts because Sliker was on a spare. Just a 6-pin count in this match that might come down to a single or 2 pins.
Tough spare here.
But Sliker does pick it up.
Perfectly.
So at the end of 4, it is Anthony trailing by 6 after Sliker's 6-pin count.
What you want to do is hit the 2-5 right on, flush on the right there, and have the ball carry the 8. He gave a clinic on how to do it.
Anthony, 46 years old. Sliker with his partner Mike Durbin in the Pro Bowlers Doubles Championship at Las Vegas in '83.
5 steps, very short, not much of a slide. He's high again.
Sliker, the baby split. This, the 310.
And what's happened here, Dwayne, is the lanes have changed a little bit, and Gill is confused. He cannot find the pocket now. He's confused since that first frame. He hasn't hit the pocket. He's got to make this baby split to keep the pressure on Earl. It's only a 4-pin match if he makes it.
Second place, $25,000. First prize, $40,000. We're in the middle of the match, the 5th frame. Sliker trying to convert it. It does! What a shot! Under pressure.
Well, he's making his spare shots great. He's just confused on that first ball. He doesn't know what the ball's going to do. You fit it right in between here. What Earl couldn't do with the 5-6, Gill does do with the 3-10. Perfect shot there. Again, a clinic.
You know, you see it converted a lot in league play, but boy, in these conditions, with this money on the line, what pressure.
The problem with that, though, you can't continuously leave those spares and expect to make them all. Even the top pros are going to blow.
One, anyway. That might be all it takes.
Anthony coming off an open frame. In the 5th frame for the Earl as he comes in high, but he strikes, and Anthony jumping on Sliker here with a strike, and Anthony now is down still by 4 pins through 5 frames. Anthony trailing by 4.
Well, we
5
said,
frames left.
What we said at the top of the match was that the left lane was the key lane for Earl because it's tighter and he has to slow the ball speed up here and more turn to get it up there. And even when he does, the ball won't hit.
Tension in this Masters that preceded the birth of the Pro Bowlers Association by 8 years. The first Masters was in 1951, won by Lee Judelard. Anthony on lane 17 as he comes to the pocket.
What an adjustment. That's why he's the best that ever lived, I'll tell you. How smooth he is. Kind of a shuffle up there, but a long slide. He lets it go. Now he knows it's flush. And watch his reaction. All right.
Now, there can't be many greater bowling thrills in America than what you're watching right now on the Mizzlou Television Network. Sliker and Anthony, tooth and nail, hammer and tongs for the Masters Championship. Sliker is light. He almost left another bucket, but it'll be the 2-5.
He just does not know what to do. The ball is hooking early, and he moves left, and it won't come back right now. On this finish that you're calling, what'd you call it, Dwayne? Laminate?
Laminate.
On this laminate finish, as we see the ball coming in light, leaving the 2-5, the oil or the dressing moves around quite a bit, and it changes very rapidly. Just got it up.
We'd like to thank Fram Autolite for its sponsorship of our Masters telecast for the 2nd year. And isn't it wonderful that people around the United States can watch this great competition?
Anyway, that oil moves around on this finish, and it's moved since the last game, and Gill has not made the adjustment where there's been 4 right-handed players changing it, and only Earl bowling on the left, so it's the same for Earl.
All right, Anthony leads by 8. Sliker up in the 7th on a spare.
Moved in a little bit.
And strikes. Hey, here's something, gentlemen. The American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress were recognized by the U.S. Olympic Committee in April. So we're going to see bowling as an Olympic sport as we watch it again.
Gill moved in a little deeper, closer to the 3rd arrow with more speed. He got the ball into the 1-3 pocket. He's had it there only twice in 7 frames and gotten 2 strikes.
How about Chuck Pisano, bowling in the Olympics?
I think that'll be a great impetus to high school and college bowling. These youngsters can look forward to participating in Olympics, hopefully in 1988 or 1992.
Big shot here for Earl. It's been a little high on this
Going
lane.
for a turkey in the 7th frame.
And trips the 6-pin off, but the 7-pin stands, and he waves his hand at it. Thought sure he had a strike there. It's a 7-pin match.
You hear the vocal backing for Anthony here as he puts his hands on his hips, and he's got this big crowd buzzing now.
He's been a popular favorite all week. Wherever Earl was bowling, the crowd would just shift with him and stand behind him.
And remember, he retired 9 months ago. He said, that was it. I'm going golfing. That's it. But I will bowl the Masters. But he didn't work out to any great degree for this competition. He just came in and won 6 straight matches after doing a decent job in the medal play, and here he is, the top seed on the televised
He said he felt he
finals.
would have been happy just to make the cut, which means the match play portion. But once he got into there and he started winning, then that urge to win again comes up.
Well, he smells it, 8th frame action, 7 pins of difference.
Anthony leading by 7 on a spare. Anthony's double was the only time in this championship match that either player has put strikes back to back.
Earl in the 8th frame on his tougher of the two lanes, lane 17.
Anthony in the 8th, rolling. No, almost the bucket for the left-hander, but the 3-5-6 for Anthony. And he comes up with a tough count there. He was on a spare, and count could be very important by the end of this match.
And he has the 3-5-6. Remember, he had the 5-6 earlier, and he couldn't convert that. This is a very choppable spare.
His
All kinds
lead
of things can go wrong.
with that 7-pin count, Mike and Chuck, his lead goes down to 4.
And the way they're bowling, neither one seems to have any great control.
Folded? Does. I tell you, this is a nail biter, Chuck. I mean, they're both struggling. They're both making their spares. They're both trying to respond to the pressure and get the ball into the 1-3 pocket or the 1-2 pocket. And neither one of them is really wired into the pair.
This is a type of match, if I were home watching, I'd be on my feet right now. I wouldn't be on the sofa. I'd be on my feet. Sliker, 8th frame, trying to double to take the lead. Can take the lead with a shot. No, he's light, and he left the 2-4-5, a similar lead to what Anthony's got.
And did you see, Gil, he thought the ball was going to finish into the pocket. He got it right over target, and it backed off at the pocket. It would not finish.
Right now, that lead of 4 pin is looking larger and larger for Anthony. Sliker trying to get this important spare in the 8th.
He has to make the spare. He can afford no misses at this stage of the match. A little soft, a little soft. Oh, when he chops the 2-4-5, he just was too soft, and the ball hooked and chopped it.
This looks good most of the way, Mike, until that last split second. Watch it make a good left turn.
See, he just threw it too slow with the spare. I mean,
Anthony's lead is ballooned to 16 pins. 9th off an open frame, and he lets the Earl
Great
know
comeback,
that he's still around.
he's still potential 198. Earl is going at a 194 pace. Earl, if he gets a double in the 9th or 10th, can close out Gil Sliker.
This would have to rank as one of Anthony's most treasured victories if he should get it.
Definitely would be to win the Masters twice, especially since he hasn't been out all winter long.
After that huge layoff, all he's been doing is bowling league back in California. He runs 2 bowling centers, one of the top women pros. Pat Costello, as you see the large crowd watching, Pat Costello runs one of his bowling centers, and the Earl spends a lot of time in the other.
He's high. And breaks up the sprint.
Right there.
Turned that ball early. The right lane is hooking. He got it in just aboard, but that's all it took. Cuts that lead down. And what is it, 14 pins right
14.
now?
Last year, Anthony lost to an upstart, Mike Listowski, in these Masters finals. And Listowski went on to win the championship. This year, we thought we might have another upstart in victory lane with a great performance by young Rick Minier, but he was derailed by Gil Sliker. Now Anthony in the 9th.
4-7. Tough spare. Under this pressure, he's got it.
Converts it. No mistakes for Anthony. And his lead heading home into the 10th frame is 14 pins.
We've had to watch every ball closely in this match for the spares. Every one
Watch
has
Earl.
been an experience.
Follow through, comes up. Just a little short with that shot. It was right of target and went high. Now he's on the lane that's tight and he can't get it up on. He needs 2 strikes and 7 to close out Gil Sliker.
Anthony has had 4 strikes in the match. Sliker has had 3. It's been a close, tenacious battle. Anthony on a spare in the 9th, up in the 10th, as Sliker looks down.
He's
And
there.
Runs it out.
Oh, and a solid 10. I don't believe it.
That would just not budge, and nothing came close to moving that 10 pin out of there.
What a bad break. The 3-pin.
Earl holds up the white flags. You see that?
Watch the 3-pin. Third one from the right. Go to the wall fast, so fast that it comes back and misses the 10. He could not have thrown the ball any better under the pressure situation, but he needs to get together, make the spare. He's still
Force
going
Gil to double.
Now let's remember now. All right, Sliker's on a strike in the 9th. All right, here's Anthony picking up the spare, and he'll have one more ball, and he'll try to get every pin he possibly can knock down. Right, Chuck?
8 pins is very important here, so
Well,
then he'll
7
force Gil.
Yeah, 8 pins, and he forces, well, 7, 8, or 9, and he forces Gil to get 2
2
strikes.
strikes.
So let's just watch this last shot of the 1984 Masters tournament. It might be the last shot this man throws until the Masters begins next year.
Except for Lee, yeah. And now it carries. Earl waves at it and says, Why didn't you do that earlier?
191 for Earl Anthony in the championship match. That's what he's been doing, bowling just well enough to beat his opposition all through this tournament. Again, Mike.
This one he just needs 7, and he gets 10.
Ooh, was high.
A little bit high, but he was going to get 7 or 8 on that spare. Right now, Gill he has not hit the pocket on this lane the entire game. He doesn't have a strike.
He needs
on
2
it.
more strikes.
Have to do it one at a time. He needs his first one.
And Frank.
He gave it a lot of room. It's not coming back.
Earl Anthony, ladies and gentlemen, has scored an incredible comeback. And there you see the Earl with his wife, Susie. Jim Dressel, just off camera from the Bowler's Journal, who did such an excellent question and answer article on Earl Anthony in recent months.
It's just the lanes changed in the middle, and Gill was unable to make the adjustment. He didn't know what to do, and it was so hard to get up there and throw a pressure shot to win a major title. When you don't, you're not sure what the ball's going to do.
And Earl showing a lot of class. He went over and said some words to Crystal Sliker.
Gill was caught in the switches there, Mike, particularly on lane 18.
Lane 18 just had him. He just couldn't get the ball. Let's see.
Some consolation. 25,000 for second for Gil Sliker. 7-pin count on his last ball. And so was Anthony. 191. Sliker 175. The embrace of these 2 great competitors. And they're on their feet in Reno for maybe the greatest champion of them all in this most wonderful of sports. Earl Anthony. What a comeback. What a victory.